iPad Pro 2018 edition, Apple Pencil 2. This is an artist review. We're going to go over it in a second. Okay, there's a lot to like here, so let's pay some bills. This is going to be the 12.9 2018 edition. That is the 3rd gen. Display size is 12.9. As said, 120 Hertz means less pen lag. That's basically the refresh rate. Display resolution is 2732 by 2048 pixels. It supports HDR. It is 264 ppi, pixels per inch, which is great. This sports the new Apple A12X Bionic chip processor. Internal memory depends on the model you pick, obviously. Mine is going to be the 4 gigabyte. The 6 gigabyte is only available on the most highest expensive one. They claim a battery life of 10 hours. There's 2 cameras, one in the front, 7 megapixel, and the rear is 12 megapixel. It has digital zoom of 5 times. It weighs 22.26 ounces, and the dimensions are 11.04 times 8.46 times 0.23 inches. The Apple Pencil 2 is a Bluetooth device. It actually has a double tap button, you can configure to go to eraser and such. It's a matte finish, and this is the important part. Apple claims a 240 Hertz polling rate. That's more popular on gaming mouses and stuff like that. But basically what it's going to do is going to allegedly allow for more accurate strokes, especially quicker strokes. Let's talk about that for a minute. So what they're alleging is, most likely where you're going to see this, say for example you drew a circle really fast. What the polling rate is going to allow is that circle is going to be more accurate, with the polling rate being higher. That's why they use them on gaming mouse. It's a faster response time between the time the actual device is talking to the actual peripheral, in this case the Apple Pencil 2. The other thing is, they don't give you a spare nib this time around, which, for the price hike, $130 for the Apple Pencil. I mean, I think that's kind of ridiculous. They could have at least thrown one in there. And then last, there's no cursor, with the Apple device. So in other words, on a Windows device and a Mac device, you have a cursor so you kind of see where your pen is, right? Well, you don't have that. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, and I find it, especially with inking, to be inconvenient because I can't really tell yet, and I'm sure with practice it'll get better, where exactly my pencil lies. And then finally, there is no parallax. It's not even worth talking about. There's 0 parallax on this device. So that's a big thumbs up and a big plus for the Apple Pencil and the iPad. So this is a rough idea how the Apple Pencil 2 compares in size to some other pens and stylus you might have seen out there. This guy is in kind of a world of its own. There's nothing really out there as far as, this type of shape where it's flat along the top and then it's, kind of barreled along the bottom. So we aim this review at artists, right? But we just want to cover the basic hardware things. This guy only has one button on it. And really it's just the volume rockers at the top and the bottom. In the back is the main camera. It punches out a little bit, but most of the cases and holders are going to prevent that. But you just have to be careful because if you're on a flat surface, it's going to be on a little bit of a tilt, but not enough that I really noticed it. This little connector here is going to be for the Apple dock, which was like $189, and I didn't do that. I just got something that was, off Amazon. And there's 4 speakers. There's literally 2 on each side, and they actually sound pretty good. So I'm very happy with the sound quality. So a couple of neat things, at least about the Apple Pencil 2. I'm not going to cover all the differences between the previous generations of iPad Pro, but this one in particular, the main knock on the pen was the charging, and they've sort of solved that. It's Bluetooth now. It actually clips up at the top. It's magnetic. And as soon as you connect it, it instantly starts charging. So you don't have to lose it. It's a really strong connection. So they got rid of all that, connecting to the lightning port and all that stuff. Now, the positive and negative is that this only has one physical port available, and that's USB-C. And they don't give you any adapters or connectors or headphones. And, Apple really does itself a disservice for such an expensive device, because even if I wanted to transfer video over, I have to go through iCloud right now because I don't have USB-C on my main PC and everything like that. But it would have been really nice if they at least included, you know, one lightning port to USB adapter, USB-C I mean, and maybe one USB-C to USB-A adapter. I mean, give people like a running start, you know, when you're going to change connectors like that. Overall, and for future proofing, it's going to be a better situation. But anybody who's got an Apple family of products and a million adapters and chargers and etc., none of that stuff is going to work now because of the USB-C. So once again, this is the 256 gigabyte model. It's the one with 4 gigabyte of RAM. I can't really tell the difference, you know, between 6 and 4 because everything's so well optimized. But I mean, everything is fast. I noticed no slowdown, no lag. I mean, you know, as advertised, this thing is as powerful as they say it is. Okay, I've got the screen recording going now, and I'll just take you through a couple things relevant to, you know, the art stuff. If we go into settings, and there's an Apple Pencil section here, and you can see this is really where you can configure what this button does. There's not much. It's going to be app specific where you can do certain things, but I just wanted to note that, you know, in the review. So other than that, it's standard, you know, Apple iOS. There's really not a lot to cover unless we go through a whole iOS video, and we're not going to really do that. So the first thing I'll do is I'll open up Sketchbook Pro, right, which is nice because it's an app I'm familiar with and I don't have to go crazy trying to figure it out. And immediately the Apple Pencil feels a little bit different to me, right, because I'm so used to, you know, Wacom products and EMR products and everything like that. But, you know, as soon as I get in here, it's actually very intuitive. And if you look at how light I'm going and then dark, you know, these are the kind of tests we do when we do these reviews. And I'm actually tilting the pen down to show you what a thicker line I got. And what I noticed immediately compared to an EMR pen is that the tilt works a little bit differently. And what I mean is that if I just do a line like this, right, and then I tilt it with an EMR pen, it'll register the tilt, and I'll get variations depending on the brush. But with the Apple Pencil, I actually really get the feeling of like a lead pencil as I'm shading. So I'm not saying it's better. Well, maybe I am saying it's better. I don't know. But it feels much better as a sketch device because it's like having the barrel of a lead, you know, if you've ever used a charcoal or something like that. I mean, as I'm tilting up and down, you know, I can go in there and shade right away. Like it's really a nice feeling. I was very surprised. I didn't expect that. Now, you can do a similar thing with an EMR, you know, device, but, you know, you're messing with brush sizes and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. You could see the responsiveness is great. I mean, everything is so fast. The pinch to zoom, everything's accurate. I've read that you're not really supposed to wear a glove with these, but I don't see any problem. And this thing is going to, you know, I'm going to smudge the shit out of this thing if I don't. But, you know, just going in here, and this is a huge canvas. You know, it's the full resolution, whatever the hell it was, 2000, you know, by whatever. But there's no lag at all. And again, that probably has something to do with the polling rate we talked about, and, you know, it's 120 hertz and things like that. But you can see I'm moving. You know, I'm not generating any kind of lag. Let's just do like a, you know, Spidey type of thing for now. So let's go throw on a quick ink layer just to demonstrate. I mean, look, that's such a pretty line. It's really, I'm really surprised by this. I have to be honest with you guys. Let's do a quick Q&A. Can this replace my laptop? No. How is the Parallax? There is none. Why did you not demo Clip Studio Paint? $9 a month, that's why. It's crazy expensive and ridiculous. Do you experience the slight bending issue? No, I would have instantly returned it. What is the main reason you would not recommend the iPad Pro? Price. It's a great digital art device, but it's an expensive one. How do you move files to and from the iPad Pro? Cloud storage, OneDrive, iCloud, Dropbox. Will you do a follow-up on some tips and tricks? Yes. Can you do professional work on the iPad? Absolutely yes. Although I do recommend if you're a professional, you still have a full-blown workstation and whatever pen display of your choice. Can you compare this to a Wacom Mobile Studio Pro? They are totally different devices. The Wacom Mobile Studio Pro is full-blown Windows, comes in 13-inch and 16-inch sizes, but it's a 16:9 ratio, whereas the iPad doesn't run full-blown Windows, so you're going to have to rely on apps. Now, we know Photoshop is coming, Clip Studio, despite the price, Procreate is great, and you also have a 4:3 aspect ratio, meaning you can draw on this in portrait mode, which I really appreciate. The price gap is now a lot closer, considering the iPad Pro has jumped up in price, and the Mobile Studio Pro now is a couple years old. You can get them for around the same price as the higher-end iPad Pro. So, user mile may vary, but both have a place depending on what kind of thing you're doing. Mobile Studio Pro, it definitely tries to mimic a full-blown workstation environment. Whereas the iPad's great, but you're dealing with file system issues and it's just not full-blown Windows. Even sketching, it feels great. The pencil feels natural. I mean, the only complaint I might have is that I'm not really one for drawing on a glass surface. There's no resistance here. But I would assume a couple of matte protectors or something like that, and we'll be in business. And these are just out-of-the-box brushes. Obviously, I didn't want to, tweak the brush or do anything like that. I wanted you to see how this thing performed pretty much out of the box. Now, hitting this twice, it's going to turn it to the eraser, and then going back, get me to my pencil tool. Tapping this layer will allow me to bring the opacity really low. You'll see I'm doing pretty slow lines here, at least for me. Okay, I am in Procreate now. That's your pen, your smudge, and your eraser. Now let me show you something really, really neat in Procreate, is that your eraser, when you click on the brush, you could actually make it the same brush that you're using, which is great because if you're doing effects and stuff like that, it's actually the same exact thing. So that's really neat. But we're just going to use a regular pencil, and there's plenty of options in Procreate to do different things with your brushes. It's a pretty extensive brush engine actually, so some great brushes out there. This is just going to be your brush size and things like that, your undo, but everything in Procreate is gestures, right? And if I want to bring it back, it's going to be 3 fingers. So you can see this, it's pretty intuitive, it works pretty well. This is your layers palette. There's a number of things you can do in layers. I mean, again, I don't want to turn this into a whole tutorial. I just want to show, some of the great things you can do. Again, just like in Sketchbook Pro, once I put this down on its side, I can shade. Now, one really nice feature which you're seeing in Procreate is they don't have a cursor at all, right? But if you toggle this option, you can see all your different, it's like a brush preview is really what it is. So if you have some fancy texture brush or something like that, you kind of see what's going on. But you can see, like, this is something without messing with brush size, in like a Cintiq or something like that. I'd have to, Whereas in Procreate, I can just go in here and just, shade away. Again, feels really, really natural. So the closest thing I can find to a Manga Studio type Photoshop inking pen is this Studio pen, which I like a lot. And now Procreate also has this other great feature. If I draw a straight line and then I hold it, it clicks and it instantly becomes a straight line. That's pretty neat. Obviously, we're not going for finished quality here, but and that speed does not diminish with layers or brush size or anything like that. I mean, I'm just really, really, really happy with it. I'll show you guys just a couple of quick hatches. So let's wrap this up. This is a spectacular device for a particular use case. What I mean is, it's not going to replace your laptop as mentioned. It's not a Mobile Studio Pro as mentioned. What it is, it's an all-in-one on-the-go device where you have a portable digital sketch pad that performs in a fantastic manner. So I do recommend the purchase, absolutely. I don't recommend getting the highest end model. The model I have is middle of the road. It performs perfectly, and especially if you're new to it and you may not like it. Now, Apple's got a great return policy and such, so you can try these things out. We talked about Procreate, great application. Sketchbook Pro is free. So I believe if you're on the go or you're just gonna want to sit on the couch or bring it on vacation, I think you'll get your mileage worth. And you add a keyboard to it, and I do find for even writing and stuff like that, if you want to do scripts, if you want to do novels, you can get Scrivener for the Apple iPad now. So with the right keyboard paired with it, it performs great as a writing device. So I hope you like this video. If you want to see different stuff, I'm thinking about doing some different things, reviews on maybe other people's art courses. People have been asking me, hey, have you seen this one's Procreate course and stuff like that, and some different books, and whatever you guys want to see, let me know in the comments below. Talk to me about this iPad business, any tricks and stuff you might have. It might be worthy of another video. I am going to be doing something on a paper-like screen protector. Excited about that. Hate drawing on the glass. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Click that bell for me so you get notified when my videos come out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.